Welcome to Bring Out Your Badass Self, a movement to break your negative thoughts and habits and instead focus on building each other up and encouraging fearless authenticity.
Each week, we will get vulnerable and share experiences alongside our guests and audience. Come rediscover your inner badass self.
Good morning, badass. How are you?
I'm doing well. I am glad it is Friday. How about you?
Yes, definitely. It's been a blur. These past 2 weeks, honestly, have been an absolute blur, and I am ready for the break.
I'm ready for today's topic, which is about slowing down.
Yes, right, exactly. Yeah.
Oh my
I
gosh.
would like to take next week a little slower.
Let's do it. Let's do it.
Good morning, Carmen.
Oh, yay. Carmen is joining us. So Carmen sent me a picture this morning of the intro page. She's like, I'm ready.
I
It was
love
like
it.
an hour ago. And she's California.
She's amazing. Does she sleep?
Well, she is in the construction industry. And so, a lot of times you got to get up early to avoid the hot sun and things like that. So,
Yeah.
So, as you guys are joining us, please say hello to us. Let us know that you are here. We have a great topic today, really about slowing down. And Bruce says, slowing down. What?
Love it.
Oh my gosh. We love that. Give us more of things like that. So, but he says morning badasses and gives us his beautiful purple hearts.
Yes. Thank you, Bruce. Good morning.
Yes. So also, as you guys are joining us, sometimes we have some lurkers out there, and then we also have some people that join us that are going to watch us after the fact. So we would still love to see your comments. So even as you're playing it, add your comments along the way. We liked this to be interactive with people, but we also want it to be interactive after the fact as well. So we come back, we take a look at those things. So be sure to just let us know that you're here, even if it's just a simple hello.
Yeah. Good morning, Stephanie.
Yes. And so we have a new badass at Full Sail Partners. Stephanie is joining us. And she also is saying, good morning, lovely ladies. And so we're so glad to have you here today.
Yes, definitely. At Full Sail and here.
Exactly. So also I want to just let people remind them that include a white heart, that if this is your first time joining, just let us know that this is your first time. I also do want to mention that we still have been having some issues, not as much as we have had in the past.
Yeah.
But if you see that your comment came in and we're not pulling it up, for the most part, it's probably because we aren't seeing it on StreamYard. So we stream through StreamYard. Also, Facebook users, hopefully you guys are finding the YouTube link because Facebook is no longer connecting to StreamYard. And we're still debating. I've heard some interesting things about Instagram on connecting to it. So I'm still trying to figure out what we want our third connection to be.
And I'm sorry to say that I may have manifested this Facebook issue, because I am just not a fan of Facebook. And then but I was kind of got reactivated in it, in order to kind of be present with BOYBAS and engage in comments. So it's very possible that I manifested all of this. So I'm sorry.
I'm gonna blame you, Kate, because also the moment, a week after we're no longer doing it, I see this announcement from Kate. She's like, goodbye, everybody. I'm leaving Facebook again.
Yeah. I'm out.
Oh my God.
And I actually said, since BOYBAS is no longer allowed to stream on Facebook, I'm out. See you later, folks. Here's my phone number. Text me if you need me. And I made it public. I am getting quite a lot of spam text, but that's okay. That's fine. It's easy to delete.
Oh gosh.
Stephanie, good morning. Happy Friday. Stephanie, I will say publicly to you right now, do not worry that that AI summary of our phone call yesterday just was sent to me. It was not bad at all, but we covered a lot of topics. You know how, we got business done really fast. And then, there was like a good 30 minutes of us just chatting. And I sent her the AI, summary that Zoom provides. And I was like, I don't know if you've ever seen one of these, but oof, did we cover a lot of topics today? And she replied, wow, we certainly did. And I really hope this isn't public.
Oh my gosh. We were having a conversation yesterday too. And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm like, is the summary on? Because this is going to be a weird conversation in the summary AI.
Yeah. That's one of the things I like about that summary AI is that when you do like, it's very good at showing you later how like fast you switch topics, because it gives like, every new topic kind of has a heading.
Yes.
So you'll all of a sudden be like, oh, wow. Yeah. Okay. Sure. We did all of a sudden start talking about animals there. Yeah, we did. Okay. And now it's back to CRM. Okay. Oh, right. Then we started talking about cantaloupe. I remember that. That was weird. Okay. Now we're, like, that's literally.
She just said, you're one of those people that makes you want to just open up.
Yeah. I love you too, Stephanie.
So guess who's here today?
Yes. He's not. That's my dad. Hi, Dad. He's watched. I think last week was his first episode, though.
Okay.
He's recently retired, so he never really had time. So
okay, so he's considered a white heart. He's a first timer.
Yes. Well, he was a lurker last week.
A lurker. Okay, first time letting us know he's here.
Yes.
And then Kim, happy Friday. My favorite, beautiful badass ladies. You as well, one of our favorite badass ladies.
Yes.
So I have a fun nostalgic thing to start off with for today's topic. And so I don't know if you guys remember this. I feel like I'm dating myself maybe a little bit with this. And so also, real quick, Tanya, she made it. She said she made it. So hello, welcome to you as well. And so tell me if you guys remember this particular video. What I've done is I've edited it down, but it so hits today's topic of slowing down to speed up. And so it's a little bit more than two minutes, maybe 2.5, something like that. But I took little clips of it. And so hopefully it'll also be nostalgic for everyone. So let me go ahead and bring it up. Here we go. Hang on one second. Let me get it back to the beginning. There we go.
Tortoise meets hare. Tortoise meets hare? Tortoise meets hare? What? These spooky guys don't know what they're talking about. What, the big bunch of joints? Come on out of there, Superman. Come on out. Now listen, you. If you think you can beat me, you...
Hello?
Now, if you think you can beat me...
Yes?
Now, what's all this about a turtle beating a rabbit? Why, you measly little shriveled up dope, you know darn well I can beat you any day in a week. You know that, don't you?
No.
No? No, he says. Well, I'll tell you what I will do, stupid. I'll bet you $10 I can beat you.
You got a bet there, mister.
Hey, Seabiscuit, you all set?
Yeah, I guess so.
Get on your mark. Get
Hello, operator. Give me Chester Turtle. Hello, Chester. Cecil. Oh, what do you say, Cease? Chet, you know that slicker rabbit I made the $10 bet with? Yeah? Well, the sucker just left here. Call the boys and tell him to be ready when he comes by. Give him the works. Hello. Hello. Hi, Speedy.
Well, I just left you back. Well, how in the what? Gee, how? When did I didn't? How did you get up here anyway?
Oh, just running.
So long, shorty.
So long, Speedy. We do this kind of stuff to him all through the picture.
Oh gosh. So for me, I thought that this would be fun to do just because it reminds me of the cartoons where everybody was always so fast and all the things that they were doing. And then really the person that was outdoing them was the slow person. And when you really think about the things that they were doing, they didn't have to be fast. The
Right.
reason that he was able to outdo him is because he spent more time slowing down and thinking about his overall strategy. And that's really sort of the topic that we're going to have today.
Yeah. Yeah. Super fun. I love it. I totally remember it. Watching it at some point, you know, and it's like, it's a common parable, right? You know, so it's a tale as old as time. Slow, you know, is that you can be slow and still win the race, right?
Exactly. You know, so even in it, he's like, so long, Speedy, you know.
You know?
So I want to ask the audience a question. So our first question is, do you feel pressure to be in motion or to be productive? And sort of a thumbs up if you do feel pressure to be in motion or, you know, to overall be productive, or a thumbs down, and then why or why not. So I just want to understand a little bit more about the mindset of people related to being in motion, productivity, things like that. And so, Kate, maybe you and I can also start with, how do you personally define being productive?
Yeah. So I super fast type of personality most of the time, you know? So like for me, being productive is a feeling I have at the end of the day. And it's usually like, did I accomplish some of the things I set out to do? Because I'm very ADHD and have a lot, I have a very, you know, I've created a very overstimulating environment for myself, because that is where I thrive. But it's also like, what's normal for me, you know, like my brain is really, so I have to have like the world around me the same, maybe, I don't know. But regardless, I have to set intentions for the day on my good days, right? On the days where I am like on my shit when I wake up, what, you know, I then am able to say, these are kind of the important things I would really like to get done today, in addition to like showing up for the stuff I'm supposed to show up for, you know. And then, you know, the feeling I have at the end of the day of when I get those things done is like, okay, phew, like I got it done. I'm accomplished. I feel like I was productive today. In the middle of my productivity or day, I don't ever think about it, right? Do you? Like, that would be something I'm interested in knowing from other people, because I don't. I'm just like, I got to get that done, but I'm not yet attached to, you won't feel good later if you don't get this done. I'm still like,
Yeah.
I'm still like kind of teasing myself in my head, like, well, I can do this faster. I can probably squeeze in that shower and get, you know what I mean? Like, I'm like, even, you know, I'm 44 years in, I still have not made, you know, a deep enough connection to like, how am I going to feel at the end of the day based on what I'm doing here? And that is like that's a constant, like, you know, struggle or battle for me.
Yeah. So I'm going to go to some of the comments and then I'll talk about some of the things that you talked about. So Tanya gives a thumb down. She doesn't feel pressure to be in motion or to
Good.
be productive. And she said that she used to. Now she knows that she has to go at her own pace. And Maria's joining us. Good morning, Maria, coming from YouTube. And Renee said, I feel productive when I get something accomplished and off my plate versus doing 5 things all over the place and getting none of them done.
Right.
And then Stephanie says, I put pressure on myself to do more than I actually can. And that is even,
or that it's even required.
Yeah, exactly. And so Maria said, one of my favorite questions from a therapy is, how will you feel once you accomplish XYZ?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then Tanya also added, I'm productive in the days I feel well, but give grace to myself when I don't feel well.
Yes.
So this is an interesting question for me because I recently did the Clifton Strength Finders. And for me, I am an achiever. Like that is one of my top 5. I also feel that I don't have to always be accomplishing or be in motion. Although my mind is always in motion. It's so for me, a lot of times I find that I have to take time to meditate, or I have to take time to be more mindful and to slow down. So that's why this topic for me is so relevant, because I find that I get so much more clarity from things when I slow down. Because I used to be someone that in order to achieve, I had to do. And I feel like society sort of conditions us to that, because when you think about society, they're always like more is better. So it's like you need more in life, you need more money, you need more stuff, you need to show success, you need more titles, you need more, like it's everything is more. Yeah.
Right.
And so for me, I think sometimes it's a very toxic narrative that we deal with in society, that we have to have all of this more in the world for us to achieve.
Yeah. Right.
What do you think about that?
Yeah. Fuck yeah. I mean, that is so prevalent. And I feel like, it's been proven that our culture here in the US is very focused on that type of productivity, that type of, you know, get, have, do more, hustle, you know, the people at the lowest kind of level in society in terms of, you know, their social stance and, you know, poverty, whatever, those people are kind of referred to as like lazy, or, you know, like they didn't work hard enough.
Yeah.
You know, even it, you know, yeah, they you know, shit happened to them, but they still didn't work hard enough. And the people at the top, you know, that are getting all the money or getting all the wealth or having all the things and showing it to all of us, and you know, those people are revered as, well, you know, they worked their ass off, they hustled, they got it, they made it happen, you know. And it's all about, you make it happen. You as the individual, you pull up your bootstraps and get the work done, right? That is what we are all kind of conditioned.
Yeah. And I think it's a very destructive thought pattern as well, that a lot of times where like it's the bootstrap thing that you were talking about, that if people aren't seeing results, it's because they didn't work hard enough. They didn't do enough. They didn't put enough effort. When in actuality, I find sometimes it's more about us stepping back and saying, okay, well, what actually makes us happy.
Right.
What is it that I actually want in society? And that's actually one of the reasons I really loved the pandemic. I know I looked at it differently, but I was like, whoa, I was like, I really like this. Like, I really like being with family and us doing meals and all of those types of things. So and I know that you had some statistics also that you know, just being happy, US people versus other countries.
Yeah, I'm kind of, I'm very interested in what other countries are doing. That's like a topic that I like to explore fairly often because I love my country. I love the US, but I feel like there's some things that we are fundamentally getting wrong. And, I'm just interested in how it's being done elsewhere. So there are, by all sorts of measures, scientifically researched, whatever, but they rank things, and there are 15 countries in the world that are happier than we are, and the number one happiest country in the world is Finland.
Mm-hmm.
But it's in general, even if you don't like get into this and geek out on it like I do, the top countries are all like the ones that are just kind of associated with chilling out. Finland, Denmark, Iceland, Switzerland, Netherlands, Luxembourg, Sweden. When you think of those countries, you do think of like more neutral, kind of like a slower mentality. Everybody says, no, I'm Switzerland, I'm Switzerland, I'm neutral, so there's just.
That's what my husband says all the time.
Yes, exactly. Right. Okay. So those little stereotypes come from a real place of the people that live in those countries have a different social norm around them. Right. So for here in the US, it's very individualistic. You are responsible for your productivity. You are responsible for what you have. You have to work hard to get what you have. And it's up to you to do it. Right. And in other countries like Finland, there is a much more community approach to happiness and to productivity and to what you have and to socialism in general. I won't go down that. That can be polarizing. But, there's a stark contrast between when you look at what things that these happier countries have versus what we have. And even if we look past those governmental polarizing structures and just look at what environments are they in, and in Finland, there is a community-based approach around happiness, that it's not just up to the person, that they understand no one lives in a vacuum. So we have to all be a part of that. So there's far more transparency. Apparently in Finland, if you walk around and you say, how are you? It's not just, I'm fine, I'm okay, I'm whatever. People will get into it. If somebody's not good, they just say it like, I am. This is a shit day. You asked how I am, so I want to tell you. Where what that is there's an openness there. There is a comfort with emotions, and there's transparency so that everyone understands that, we're in this together, right?
Sorry, I got to pull up Stephanie's comment.
Yes.
European out of office. I'm away camping for the summer. Email again in September versus American out of office. I have left the office for 2 hours to undergo kidney surgery, but you can reach me on my cell anytime.
Anytime. Right. I love the ones that are like, that give a lot of direction. I've even done that too. Well, you can reach me on this day, probably, because I might have cell service then, but not these other days. Like, they go into the detail.
I love my internal email address, sometimes to people. Like, when it's a day off, I will put in there, why are you reading this? Why are you not off? Like, that's my reply to them. Like, why are you emailing me on a day off?
We all have off, including you. Don't email me today.
I'm like, why are you emailing on a day off?
Yeah.
So
100%.
So let's dive in a little bit to some of the things you just said. So internally within our company, one of the things we've been exploring is the fact of What is it that we're trying to accomplish?
Yeah.
And one of the things we've been toying around with is getting rid of commissions.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason why is that for us, we are a collaborative group. And when you think about collaboration and some of the things you just said, like someone asking, how's your day? And they open up to you, it's because you're creating a connection with
Yeah.
people. You're building a network. You're building people that are self-accountable, people that will work with each other, that
Yeah.
are self-accountable not only to themselves, but to others. So it's building a different type of mentality versus I'm focused on the money. And that's the reason that I'm doing this. It should really be about the client. That's why
Yeah.
we're debating on, should we just get rid of commissions altogether, pay people higher in their salary and say, this is, now this is the salary, screw the commissions altogether, because we need to be working and we need to be collaborative instead of having to have this bickering back and forth. Like I was involved, all of those types of things. And so
Right.
when we think about it just from a society perspective, in how it is that we feel like we have to accomplish, it's like keeping up with the Joneses, all of those types of things. And then you start to think about all the mental health things as well, because when you start to look at the idea that people think more is better, so I need to do more, that also leads to other things like anxiety, because anxiety, people that are dealing with ADHD and anxiety, they're thinking, how will I ever get to where I want to?
Yeah.
But the
How I get
question
there.
is, where do you want to be?
Right. Yeah, that's a great question.
Is it making the money? Is it, it's all these societal things that have been put on us versus really stepping back and being more mindful and understanding, what do I really need to be happy in life?
Right, right. Yeah, at the end of the day, what is it that makes me happy? When do I feel better? There are just there's these internal pressures that we give ourselves, right? And so there's a lot of people, I think, that define their worth based on their productivity, right? I know that and it doesn't all have to be about money and hustling. Like, I know Jenna struggles with this just in her parenting and like households things that she wants to get done, right? So even if her body is telling her to take a break, you're tired, take a break, she does so, but like for the first part of that break, she's beating herself up inside her head because she didn't get the shit done that she wanted to get done. And she has to literally go through this process of reminding herself that isn't defining her self-worth, that the vacuuming will always need to be done, and that the kids can come read to her while she's lying down, like other things that she can do to maybe accomplish the same things or let some things go. But, at the end of the day, like, doesn't matter. Are you going to remember 20 years from now, that you took that nap or you rested, instead of like, no, you're not. Absolutely not.
So it's interesting you say that, because whenever I did the human design, that the episode that we did, I found a difference between me and Jay. Jay is what's called a generator. That means he has the energy to go, 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 go. I need to actually take time to re-energize.
Yeah.
And I also am impacted by other people. Like I feel their energy sometimes, but sometimes it also depletes me. So it helped me to really understand myself a little bit more, and helped me to get out of that negative thought of, God, he's going, going, going. And I feel this pressure to get up and like, go, go, go.
Go with him, right?
Yeah. But I just want to fucking just sit down and rest. And I was feeling guilty. I was like putting this guilt on myself that I don't have as much energy as he does. And I finally had to say, you know what? No, you need this. You need the rest. You need, and here's why. Here's why it's important. like, whenever I get off of work, he's immediately, he's doing stuff, but he has had time to already slow down. And
Mhm.
sometimes he wants me to go with him again. And I go, hey, you've had some time to like, to rest, to, have a moment. I need that as well. And he's now really, really good about that because he
Right.
knows that I just need some time to decompress, have some time. I also try to do that in the morning. I spend the weekend sort of creativity wise because I really need that creative aspect of
Mm.
just being more mindful and in allowing myself that creative time. But we put so much negative pressure on ourselves to constantly being going. Like, I gotta clean, I gotta go, I gotta go do this stuff, I gotta, all
Right.
these things. And so I actually have, my daughter likes to go as well. And so my agreement with her is I have a day off. I have agreed I have a day off, and then the other day I'm going with you. So it's like a compromise between the two. But I'm just curious, with others. Let me pull up this real quick. So I have another question for you: is why can slowing down be so hard?
Mm.
Why is it so hard sometimes just to be able to just take a moment for yourself? It could be going and getting a massage, just meditating. It could be doing nothing. It could just
Right.
be, you know, sitting down and just resting. Why is it so hard?
Well, yeah, for me, it's so hard because I find a lot of those things boring. So I struggle with some of those things. I had to like find it's taking me like a long time to find resting activities that aren't work
Mhm.
that are that I enjoy, that I still find stimulating enough, but it's not, go. It's still like kind of a slow, restful thing. I think, our society makes it hard, right? We already kind of went through that. So like,
Yeah.
first of all, we have so much pressure around us to go. So that's the first thing that makes it hard.
Yeah.
It's like this conditioning that we've all experienced.
Yeah.
I also think like it's a tale as old as time, just like the hare and the tortoise. Like, you know, it's you got to be fast to get it done, and it's the slow people are the anomaly. They're not. Yep, there it is, Tanya. Because we've been conditioned to think doing nothing is being lazy. Right?
Correct. I think that's a great summary of it. And it's also because of that societal conditioning that if you're not doing, there's also, I think, the mindset of scarcity that, if I'm not doing enough, then I must not be accomplishing. I also wonder if people have come about it in sort of a fear aspect. If I don't create, enough, then, will I be okay in life?
Yes. Yeah. There's a fear aspect. And this, like, if I don't do enough, I also think like life can be so overwhelming, like
Mhm.
so overstimulating, so overwhelming that sometimes going fast actually, for me, makes me feel focused because I at least know what the fuck I'm doing. So, because I am a person that can have a million things going on at one time, like because I'll literally be in the middle of sending one email and I'll be like, oh, I remember that other email I have to send. So I'll be like, okay, I'm just going to keep this up so I remember it, right? I'm going to remember it. I'm going to put it up on my screen. I'm going to open up another one, and I got to start that before I forget it, and then that leads to another thing, and that leads to another thing, And I've had this phenomenon where there are days where when I am booked back to back, when my meetings are back to back to back to back.
Yeah.
A lot of my colleagues find that like really overwhelming. They're like, I haven't had time to stop. I haven't had time, and I have this sense of like, I kind of like it And I figured out why.
Mm-hmm.
It's the same reason why I liked working in the very fast drive-through of Dairy Queen in the summer. You know, I was hyper focused on that one thing, but I knew exactly what I was doing. I couldn't, I was there for the meetings. And after that, I have another one. There wasn't dead time where I had to figure out, where I had to prioritize in a short amount of time. What am I supposed to be doing right now?
But do you think that's adrenaline related as well?
Sure. Yeah, sure. And it is a form of slowing down. So that's the other thing, is that I have gotten good at, if I'm present in a meeting, to be present in the meeting
Mm-hmm.
instead of trying to multitask in the meeting. So, it's, for me, it became, I had to figure out how to not incorporate some of like that busy, just for busy sake, energy into those packed days, and literally had to remind myself that this is your purpose today. You have 9 meetings in a row. You did that to yourself. My company doesn't make me do that by any means. Actually, they are like, that's insane. But I like to keep my calendar so people can just schedule on it. So, I do end up with these crammed days sometimes. And some of it's adrenaline, but also, it's being present in that moment. So I figured out how to make that hecticness still be kind of a little bit of a slowdown.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm going to share my mom. She said, I had to learn that my favorite word can be no. And it is a word of liberation. And do you find it difficult to say to others? And so
Sarah and I are on like total opposite spectrums of this, right? Sarah, favorite word is no, right?
But I've been learning how to say yes by also saying no. Here's what I can say yes to without saying no.
Right.
And so that's I think that's another topic for another day. But it is a newer thing that I've been learning, is it's not always has to be no. It can be yes to this instead.
Yeah. Right. Like how you don't have to apologize for something. You can instead thank them for something. It's like a reframing, right? It's a nice reframe.
Yep.
I find it difficult to say no sometimes because I'm people pleasing, and I've been able to ferret out when I'm people pleasing and versus when I'm not. But what I've had to do is I've had to surround myself with people that will recognize when I'm trying to take on too much. Like Sarah's really good at saying, no, you're just saying yes to that because you're interested in it, not because it's actually the right thing for you to do at this time. You happen to be interested in everything, Cate, so we can't say yes to everything, right? Like I'm like, oh yeah, you're right. Fine. I won't become an IT specialist today. Fine. I'll just keep my own job. Fine.
Believe me, Cate could potentially become an expert in anything. It's like, okay, but where are we focusing on? So we're talking about this is the path. And so I think that that's very much, I think what Maria's saying here is super important. Yes. And I don't know what CPTSD is.
Chronic PTSD.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
She says complicates slowing down because your brain gets addicted to that roller coaster. And Cate, I wonder if that's related to you.
Yeah. That I have been diagnosed with CPTSD, as Jenna has. Which is, we all have labels or whatever. But that is part of it, right? Because your brain does get addicted. Like, there's the adrenaline there. The productivity and the push is also like, you just like any dopamine enhancing thing, you can get addicted to that. It is far more exciting and more adrenaline to like do than lay down,
Yeah. So I have a question for you and also the audience. Can you share a time when you didn't slow down and it impacted you?
Yeah. So So the most recent thing that I kind of went through, and I'm going to try to get through this fairly fast. I had a group of friends that kind of came to us and said, "Hey, we want to do this with you," and I had some reservations because a couple of the people were are alcoholics. They were really struggling with substances. And they had gone through some really recent patches of like sobriety, but also just kind of like managing and figuring out how to like have some balance. And so, but I had this like sense that I kind of had like a gut feeling that I ignored. Okay. First of all, so that's the first thing. I should have ignored the gut feeling. But I found it exciting, and it was new, and it required a lot of things to get to make this group be cohesive and to get goals done that we had a lot to do. And so it was just like this whole huge new thing. And we were all like, we just jumped in and we ran, we just went so fast. And we were tackling things together that like spirituality and connectedness and things together that we even would look at each other once in a while and say, should we slow down? So we would have these moments of awareness, like that we needed to slow down. And then we would get excited again, literally in the same conversation, and then get faster. So this was like about 5 or 6 months of this. It kind of culminated a couple of weeks ago when we had an activity with this group, because we were getting together on a really regular basis and doing a variety of things. And we went to experience something together. And the two people that are really struggling with substances literally actually got kind of like abusive, like aggressive. One of them got like aggressive, and there was like mean statements made. I mean, it just was like, it ended up being like really toxic. It went down very fast. And a lot of it was likely because of the substances that were involved. But in hindsight, we all recognized, all 6 of us recognized that we ignored ourselves and each other a lot of times to just not slow down. We didn't. None of us did. And so we ended up to this place where we had to just kind of part ways for a while, because for whatever reason, the 6 of us together weren't able to listen to each other or ourselves, and that just like was too risky. Why keep doing that, right? And so it's sad, because like my feelings are hurt because I was on the receiving end of some of these things. I'm also a little mad at that I didn't listen, like all these different things. And so it's been a really interesting, and it just kind of all happened. It kind of just all fell apart in the last 2 weeks. And I have this great sense of relief as well, because I know that for the 6 of us, we are finally doing what we should have done all along, which is slow down. I'm sad that it had to like come to an abrupt stop in order for us to see that.
Yeah.
But there are times when you literally know you should be going slow, and you allow yourself to ignore that because of, something exciting or something that you're working toward. And in this case, it ended up being quite destructive. So that's like a time where and it was recent, like I knew, and so all I can do now is kind of learn from that. And that's why I wanted to share it today, because it's like, it's hard. It's hard to look back and say, wow, I could have really done that differently, and to own that. It is nice when you are looking back with a group of people that most of them are on that same page. Like, yeah, you're right. We should have all done that.
So you stated a couple of interesting things, and I also think about people that have gone through trauma, which is a lot of what we talk about, a lot of times, this just sort of came to me and reminded me of several different things. So one of the things that I learned when I went into, people may not know this, but whenever I was in 11th grade, I had thoughts of suicide. And I ended up going into an inpatient facility. And one of the things that I found was that I was saying yes to everything. And I had to learn how to say no. And the reason that that ended up being important is that I was trying to fill my life with all of these different things to stay busy so I didn't have to slow down and process the things that happened to me.
Right.
So when you tell me that people are dealing with alcoholism or drinking or things like that, that's just another mechanism for people not to have to process trauma.
Yeah.
And I also think about my father, who was a constant I would call him a workaholic. And it was one of the things that he also told me, like, don't be a workaholic. As well, is that I also think that because of his past trauma, the things he went through that he never dealt with, and he also never shared with me, it was actually his brother that shared stuff with me to let me know that, which, you know, was one of those things I was like, why would you not tell me? Like, I went through the same thing.
Yeah.
But his process was, you know, well, it happened. Like, what am I going to do with it?
Right.
But he was staying busy to not have to think and to slow down. So I
Right.
think a lot of times in society, we have been conditioned to do, so we don't have to deal with the challenges that actually we face, not only in our personal lives, but also in our business life. Like, if I just keep busy, if I just keep going, we'll figure it out. Like, it'll work its way out. But is that really a realistic approach to things whenever you have underlying issues that need to be addressed?
Yeah, no, it doesn't, right? It doesn't work. It never seems to work. If we don't, you know, if we don't have the foundation, we won't have the house, you know? So yeah, like in that example I gave earlier, you know, these were 6 individuals who are doing really well related to their goals of taking care of themselves and being connected to their higher selves and a higher power and you know, like, knowing that you are worthy and that you don't need, you know, these negative kind of coping skills. And so we could all see the future. Like, we could all see, like, okay, you know, this is what I want, and I've gotten there. I'm close to there.
Mm-hmm.
And because we were all in different levels, some of us had gotten there a little sooner than the others. We had all the empathy and love for the others. Like, oh, you're so close. You got it. And we know where you've been. We know what it feels like to be there because we all have our own traumas, right?
Yeah.
But you combine all those traumas and you ignore the desire to focus on those traumas or the knowledge that you should, right? And you just go to try to get to that goal. And then there's a lot of just like power through, right? There's a lot of power through in our lives and our business lives and everything. Like, you know, you got a cold, power through it a little bit. Work. And so it's, you know, it ends up being a little more, I would say, you know, destructive than helpful. And it really does revolve around where your energy is going and how you're coping and how you are moving forward. Like, if you're moving forward at a pace that allows you to process and make clear decisions, right?
Yeah.
That's what it's all about.
Yeah. And when you really think about um, slowing down in life, the reason we're going a lot of times is because we feel overwhelmed. So when we slow down, we can actually gain better clarity in the hecticness, in the stressful time that we're dealing with. And when we spend time being sort of more mindful of the things that we need to really focus on, that's why one of the things, so I meet with Deborah every other week, and one of the things that she does is we will just do a mindfulness where I will close my eyes, and I have aphantasia, so I don't typically see anything, but I will see colors. But one of the other things she's had me do is whenever I do it, to feel things within my body and like sensations. So that's actually something I do have. Like, where are you feeling heaviness? Where are you feeling a pain? And then that pain actually associates to other things. But what it does is it helps you to find what your unconscious is trying to tell you. And so when
Yeah.
we take a moment to really breathe in for hold it, breathe out for hold it, and we do that, we really reset our body to not be in motion. We start to get clarity on what it is we need to be focusing on, or what our body is, or our unconscious is trying to tell you. And that to me has been one of the best tools in understanding things, because then it's like, oh yeah. Like,
Yeah.
oh, I probably have some, unfinished things that I
Right.
haven't dealt with, or it helps me to understand my direction in what it is
Right.
that I'm needing to go. So instead of me saying, you know, I think I need to do this, it's stopping and saying, checking in with myself, is this what I should be doing?
Right. Yeah. And like those tools, like tools of meditation and other mindfulness practice, breath work, um,
Mm-hmm.
those, I used to think of those as like, those are good to do in a moment, right? Or those, like, you meditate because you want to like clear your mind and, allow yourself to just be one, right?
Yeah.
Like, I would kind of take it in a very literal sense. And that's great. That has its own advantages. But one of the other advantages of meditation and breath work is to teach yourself how to get to that state, right? So like, if you can meditate and get to my dad meditates every day, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And he's gotten so good at it. It's such a part of his behavior that he can literally just go right into like the Zen state whenever he wants now. And that skill is really useful. So that can be like, if you use meditation to learn
Mm-hmm.
how to get your brain used to going into a place of silence, allowing yourself to then hear what you want, or to know what you want, like Sarah's talking about. It's actually like a skill you can then apply other times when things are feeling really overwhelming. If your brain knows how to get to that space of silence, you can just say, okay, there's too much going on. I'm just going to kind of listen to myself for a minute. And for those of us that don't have that naturally, or don't know how to do that when we are in that heightened state, when we're in
Mm-hmm.
our trauma brain, or when
Yep.
we're really super anxious, that's when you have to look back at a mindful practice and allow yourself to work on that as a skill, right? As a, like, this is something I do because it's helping me in this moment, but it's also going to help me the next time I have, a really overwhelmed brain and I need to figure out where to go.
I agree. I think for me, the practicing of it, because I was not good at it. And I hear that a lot from people, that they say, I just can't meditate. I'm not good at it. But if I
Yeah.
pull up what Lindsay said, this is really what it is. She said, I've never meditated, but been testing the box breathing method to calm down, clear my thoughts, and come up with better ideas. And that really is it. It is simply first you just breathe just in a normal pace. And then it's really focusing on breathing in and doing it slower and then holding it and then releasing, and you release until you can't release anymore. Like you keep pushing it out. And the more that I do it, like now when I do it, I can immediately just become like, because I practice so much, I become more in that state where also when I'm in an argument, like with my husband or something like that, I'll be like, okay, because that, I think it's called the parasympathetic, I can't, yeah,
Parasympathetic.
thank you.
Yep.
Yeah, nervous area system, it helps that to calm you down, to get out of that reptilian brain, to get back to the more evolved part of your brain to really start thinking.
Yeah.
So when we slow down in a lot of ways, I want us to also think about how this can help us in different ways. So for example, in our careers, without clarity, we don't understand our path.
Mm-hmm.
So we don't understand our purpose. We don't understand our priorities. So working harder is not going to get you there if you don't understand where it actually is. Like, where are we actually going? So we have to stop and say, let's get clarification. Let's set expectations. So think about this not only in your career, but in a company, on a project. Like, what is the intention? Let's get clear on how it is we're moving forward and get in alignment with each other.
Yeah.
And then one of the other things I've really been learning is it's not about holding people accountable. It's about finding out how to get people to be self-accountable. So if they're focused on their purpose and the things that are important to them, you don't have to hold them accountable.
Right.
But it also requires that person to get real with themselves on what they actually want.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, at its base, right, a lot of this is around being honest with yourself, and there was another thing that you said that now I lost the words around it. But being honest with alignment, being honest with yourself, and then being aligned. Like, so it's not just being aligned with other people around you, it's being aligned with yourself too.
Yes.
Like, we've done this before. We've talked about this. We've had past episodes on wise mind, all of these things that you need to balance, the masculine, the feminine, whatever. But you have to be aligned with what your purpose is, right? You have to be aligned with your values. And then if you're in a group setting, which most of us are not in a vacuum, we then have to work towards something in alignment with their goals as well, just like you said.
Yep. And that's why also when you start to break down other things, so let's talk about, as an example, sales.
Mm-hmm.
I don't worry about the competition.
Right.
Because if I'm doing what we say that we're going to do, then it shouldn't matter what still I'm going to go, let me get creative ideas, things like that. But for me, one of the things I constantly tell people is get to know sooner.
Get to the know sooner.
Get to the know sooner, because if you're not in alignment with being able to help them, understanding what they're trying to accomplish, if they also can clarify what it is that they actually want, how can I help you?
Right. Yeah. The power of good qualification, folks. So, don't work any sales that you shouldn't be working. You have to figure that out as soon as possible. So much sales effort is wasted, in a later stage, in a proposal stage, or in a negotiation stage, when they shouldn't have even been there to begin with, because they weren't actually truly qualified. And I don't mean qualified in terms of having a lot of quality. I mean, like, that there's a fit. There's a true fit because you've said no to all of the things, that aren't a fit. And then you've realized that, there is in fact a fit, and we can continue these discussions.
Yep. And I think that this is one of the reasons why I've also been really good at building out my team is
Mhm.
that I do slow down and go, okay, I'm going to look at this in sort of an 80-20 rule. What are the consistent challenges or things that we're dealing with? Let's plan out what this looks like. And so as an example, I was talking to someone, well, how do you even like switch people or switch their roles? And I'm like, look, I had someone in the marketing department and someone on the CRM side of the department. We switched those roles. And the only way that we were able to do that is we slowed down and we said, what do you need to know to get over here? And what do you need to know to get over here? We focused just on that. We had to slow down. It wasn't
Yeah.
like immediately switching. It wasn't finding another person. We had two amazing people that wanted to switch roles. I'm not going to get rid of either of them because they're both amazing. I'm going to find a plan. I'm going to slow down and figure out how it is we're going to get there. And I feel like that's part of operation issues in
Mhm.
businesses is they don't slow down and say, okay, let's stop and deal with like the bigger picture of things in how it is and make a plan and be intentional in how we're going to do it and how we're going to execute upon something versus just going and doing the exact same thing and dealing with the exact same problems day in, day out. Like if you don't slow down, you're not going to get any other results.
Right, exactly. Lindsay has a comment here. She says, I'm going to bring it up. Get to know faster, like, and she said, this is true for project opportunities too. And fear of missing out, FOMO, that's a real thing. And what stops us from saying yes too often. I think this is for firms. This is for companies and business. This is in life in general. Right. And
Yes.
that's what our society has created. Right.
Yep.
So like in Finland, there's this whole concept over there of just being happy with what you have. Like it's actually, the mentality rather than the mentality here being hustle, 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 get more, go get it. And if you think, it just makes sense that you're bound to have more FOMO, more fear of missing out when you are in a society that is saying, go, 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 get it. That's all you're supposed to be doing. How else will you feel good about not going and getting, like you have to have this fear of missing out in order to make that whole environmental thing work. And that's a shame. That's not the real reason why we should be doing things. We shouldn't be doing things because we're afraid we're going to miss out because, we rather than doing it because it aligns with us, whether that's a business or a person or whatever.
Agreed. And in business, one of the other things that I keep talking to people internally is that, is this client in alignment with us as well? Like, are they this, are they wanting us to help them with success? Because sometimes clients want things that are not in alignment, and we have to be willing to go back and say, you know what? The way that you're wanting to approach this just isn't in alignment with what it is we're wanting, but I'm also going to help you to see if there's someone else that can help you. And it's interesting when you tell people no, they then start to like rethink their process and say, oh, well, what am I missing? Because when you slow down and you also give that no, it makes people reevaluate the process that they're thinking about. So I want us to think about a couple of things. So I want to give an analogy for those that have ever done sports, for example. And my husband and I were talking about this. He plays golf. One of the things that a lot of times people do in sports is when you're driving that ball, they think, I just need to hit it harder. I just need to do it faster. All of those types of things. It's the same thing in life, that the harder and the faster you go, you're less accurate, you're less straight, you're less intentional. And so when someone is doing a golf swing and they actually, pros will tell them, slow down, like think about the mechanics, Be intentional. Think about where it is that you're wanting to go. So it's the manifesting, it's the intentional
Yeah.
aspect of things. So you visualize where it is you're going. So when we slow down and think about those things and get clear, and we get our team clear on where it is that we're going, what it gives us is we're mindful, which mindful is slow, slow is smooth, and smooth is fast.
Right. Yeah.
Because if we slow down, we can go faster because we have all been intentional. We're focusing on what's important to us, the overall quality of what's the values that we have. We're focusing on that visualization, that long-term aspect. We're also getting rid of all the bullshit attachments that we don't actually need.
Right. Exactly. Yep. Yeah, without a doubt. And I think that's a great example. I think it'll resonate with a lot of folks. And I think, at the end of the day, we all need to refill our gas tanks one way or another. And it is much easier to get from point A to point B in a straight line versus, all up and down and all over the place. And we know that there's just, it's very hard to escape that reality in our society. So in a lot of ways, unfortunately, it is still up to us to create a life that feels productive and happy and, that we are content with. I think what Sarah and I are, advising you to do or hoping that you do is to incorporate tools and ways to slow down, as a part of that so that you can actually get and have the clarity around where you want to be and how to get there, rather than just trying to fight your way there.
This is also a message for ourselves as well.
Yes.
So, so when we talk about this, we slow down and think about things that are important in life for us also to do for ourselves and in situations that we're in. So a lot of the times when we're talking about topics, it's us slowing down and saying, how can we be better individuals as well?
Yeah.
And in the things that we're doing. So in a lot of ways, the things we talk about are things that we're also telling ourselves to practice.
Fuck yeah. Absolutely. I mean, this struggle is real.
It is.
This morning, every Friday morning almost, but Sarah texts me like, I would like you to be on time today if you're able. Not that she didn't say that way, but she's like, hey, there's a couple things I wanted to talk about before, are you gonna, because she knows that like I'm up, I'm doing stuff, but my tendency is to always squeeze more into every fucking second, instead of slowing down. That is just like what that's how I was made, and it's a battle, and I've used tools to try to get myself to slow down on a regular basis. So it doesn't.
It's not just you.
To some of us,
like this is a message for, I think, everyone. Like internally, even within our own company, we should be talking about this, that we need to slow down, think about being more intentional in what it is that we're doing, because that will then continue to set us up even more with success in whatever that might be. But it's also understanding, what does success look like for each of us?
Right. Yeah. And you can't define that if you aren't, taking the time to think about it. So, correct. Yep. Yeah. So the tortoise was able to, win the race because he slowly, gathered a plan and was able to be more strategic about it. And where the hare was just going and relying solely on that energy to get to the end, rather than, thinking about what is the most strategic way to get this done.
Agreed. I love it.
Me too.
So Thank you everyone for joining us today. I hope that you had at least one thing that you took from today's conversation. And I also very much appreciate everybody's comments. I know we didn't get to all of them, but thank you so much for sharing them with us. And it's just great to be able to interact with everyone. So please continue to do that, because Cate and I really do enjoy understanding what our audience thinks and being able to interact with you guys. So, and Cate, I just loved today's conversation and where it went.
Yeah, me too. Thank you, Sarah. Thank you, fellow badasses. Thanks for being here and contributing. It's always my goal to kind of go back after and kind of look at comments. I didn't get to do that last week because I was rushing. So it is my intention to do a better job of that this week. So, but we just love, any contribution that you're able to make, because we're doing this, to help just one person, So the more that you tell us that this is resonating with you, or the more that you share, it's just helpful all the way around.
Yeah. So everyone have an amazing weekend, and we will see you again next week. We're actually continuing to work on, we have 2 speakers that are going to be coming up the next 2 weeks. Then we're going to be having a joint conversation, another unfiltered perspective panel after that. And then I think it might be a 5th week. I can't remember if we're doing a shooting the shit or not. I'll have to look at the schedule. But how I want to sort of send us off today is just to remind you that take some time to be mindful. Be mindful so you can be slow and smooth to then be able to speed up and have effective way of approaching what it is that you want in life.
Absolutely. Find some time to be slow this weekend.
Yes. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.